Legends say that some people are born with the gift of making true music. It can pierce the veil between life and earth, conjure spirits, and bring healing to their communities, but it can also attract evil. In Mississippi in 1932, Sammy enters the church in the middle of the Sunday service. He looks tired and has blood all over his clothes. Yedidia, who is the local priest and Sammy's father, starts praying for his son while Sammy has flashbacks of a terrifying creature. The man hugs Sammy as he says that he needs to stop playing the devil's music and repent, but Sammy just holds on tighter to his broken guitar while still remembering the monsters. This started a day ago. Twin brothers Smoke and Stack return home after spending years in the army and then in Chicago working for the mob. Thanks to the money they stole from gangsters, they buy an old sawmill building and its land from former Ku Klux Klan member Hogwood. The brothers warn Hogwood that if they see him or any of his clan buddies near their new property, they'll kill them on the spot. Hogwood laughs and assures them that the clan doesn't exist anymore. Meanwhile, Sammy finds his guitar in the church and Yedidia tells him he brought it there because he wants his son to help him with a sermon tomorrow. Yedidia makes him read a passage from the Bible to remind him not to fall for temptations, but Sammy wants to leave. He's finished working and now wants to rest. An angry Yedidia scolds his son for preferring to play music for drunkards rather than being with God and warns him that this will get the devil's attention. At that moment the twins come to pick Sammy up, revealing he's their cousin. The trio drives to the woods to find a truck that the twins hit earlier. There's a snake in the back but they quickly kill it with a knife. Then Smoke drives the truck to town and pays a young girl to keep an eye on it before going to the grocery store owned by his old friend Bo and his wife Grace. After a warm reunion, Smoke explains he and his brother will be opening a juke joint, so he wants the store to be their food providers and makes some signs. Suddenly Smoke hears the truck horn and comes out to find two guys trying to steal his alcohol stash. He immediately opens fire, hurting a guy in the butt and the other in the leg. The robbers quickly regret their actions when they see who the shooter is since everyone in town knows the twins' dangerous reputation. Meanwhile, Stack drives the car while giving Sammy dirty advice on how to please a woman. Sammy is more interested in learning how the twins' dad died, since he's now old enough to understand. Stack explains his dad was abusive and one day he knocked him out. When Stack woke up, Smoke was burning their father to death. Stack gives his dad's guitar to Sammy, who thanks him with a song. Eventually they make it to the train station, where Slim is playing the harmonica. Stack wants him to play at his joint but Slim refuses, saying he already has a gig. Noticing that he's an alcoholic, Stack changes his mind by offering him more money and all the Irish beer he can drink. Then Slim and Sammy play together while Stack tells the crowd about his joint opening tonight. He doesn't see his ex-girlfriend Mary watching from afar. After the performance, Sammy flirts with Pearline, who clarifies she's married. Since she's a singer, Sammy asks her to join the performance tonight. Mary approaches Stack to scold him for disappearing without a word and not sending flowers to her mother's funeral, considering her mom always took good care of the twins. Stack pretends not to care to keep her safe and she walks away. The trio leaves in the car and they see some prisoners working by the road. Slim recognizes them and admits to his new friends that he did some time in prison. Eventually they stop by the cotton fields to recruit Cornbread, who agrees to work as a bouncer. Back to Smoke, he visits his child's grave and leaves some flowers. He then talks to his ex-wife Annie and asks her to be the joint's cook even though Annie doesn't like his business idea. When she enters her house, it's revealed that she's been practicing hoodoo and sells remedies to the locals. After the latest clients leave, Smoke mentions how magic and ghosts don't exist. However, Annie says magic has been working for him because all these years she's been doing protection rituals to help the twins. She also realizes that Smoke still wears the mojo bag she made for him. Smoke admits he misses her and still loves her, so they end up getting dirty. In the afternoon, a burning Irish immigrant named Remick runs to the nearest cabin and asks for help, saying that the Choctaw tribe is trying to kill him. Joan and Bert point their guns at him as he falls to his knees, crying because the Choctaw took his wife. After noticing clan uniforms inside the house, he offers the couple some gold coins in exchange for their help. Moments later a few Choctaw show up at the cabin to ask about Remick, saying he's very dangerous. Joan tells them she hasn't seen anybody and shuts the door on them. After the Choctaw leave, Joan looks for her husband and finds him unconscious on the ground with a huge wound on his neck while Remick is covered in his blood. Suddenly Bert wakes up and his eyes are different. It turns out Remick is a vampire and he attacked Bert to turn him. Joan screams in horror. That night the juke joint is opened and everyone is having a great time. Smoke gets angry when he finds out that Stack's letting people pay with plantation credits, pointing out that they've used most of their Chicago money and can't afford freebies. Stack and Annie convince him that if they're willing to bend the rules a bit, then the place will get popular and more people will come with actual money. When Mary tries to enter the joint, Cornbread blocks her way, but he lets her pass when he realizes she's an old childhood friend. As soon as Sammy sees her he tries to kick her out because he knows his cousins don't want her there, but Mary ignores his warnings and drags him to the bar for a drink. He wonders why she's allowed to hang out here when she looks white, so she explains that her grandfather was half black. She also shares that her mother delivered the twins and nursed them like her own. The conversation is interrupted by Smoke, who says they sent lots of flowers to her mother while she was still alive. Smoke then alerts Stack, who tries to make Mary leave and even offers to pay her off. She refuses to take his money and an argument ensues. Stack ends up admitting he still loves her but won't be with her to protect her. He walks off while leaving her in tears. Slim has been playing the piano the whole night and now it's Sammy's turn to make his debut. Everyone loves it and soon they're dancing to the music. Sammy's talent is so powerful that spirits representing dancers and musicians from the past and the future join the party. After the performance, Sammy takes Pearline to a private room to get naughty. The music has also gotten the attention of Remick, Bert, and Joan, who is a vampire too now. When they try to go inside, Cornbread blocks them and soon the twins come over to see what's happening. Remick says they're just musicians looking for a place to play and they share a song, but the twins think it's not the kind of music for a juke joint. Then Remick offers to pay so the twins have to explain that they don't allow white people, causing the trio to leave. Afterward, Smoke tells Sammy he should stay at home and play church music because it's safer, even threatening him with his gun when Sammy says he'll leave the plantation to find a better life. However, Sammy is determined and Smoke has to put his gun away. Meanwhile, Stack admits to Mary that they're losing money because everyone has paid with plantation credits. Mary thinks she should go after the three musicians to check if they truly had cash and Stack lends her a gun. She finds them singing near the building and Remick shows her his strange gold coins, saying they're from a different place and time. They start talking about life and feelings and for a moment Mary thinks they're alright. However, Remick's eyes start glowing red so Mary takes out the gun and walks away from them. She tells them to leave and when she tries to go back to the joint, Remick jumps. Moments later, Cornbread needs a toilet break so he leaves Slim watching the door. While peeing in the woods, Cornbread hears someone whispering his name. Mary returns to the juke joint just in time to watch Pearline perform with Sammy. She gives Stack some gold coins and kisses him. Stack quickly pulls back but Mary convinces him to go to a private room to get naughty. The kisses keep Stack so distracted that he doesn't see the wound on her shoulder. At the same time, Smoke runs to the gambling room because a man has gotten violent, using a blade to cut other players. He tries to attack Smoke, who easily overpowers him and holds him at gunpoint. When they check his pockets, they find loaded dice. The other players proceed to beat the cheater up and Smoke sends Sammy to find Stack so they can handle the situation together. When Sammy opens the door, he sees the couple getting busy, so he goes back to Smoke to tell him he isn't interrupting. An annoyed Smoke goes to get his brother himself and notices that Cornbread isn't at the front door. Slim agrees that Cornbread's peeing is taking too long. Then Smoke finally opens the side door only to find Vampire Mary biting Stack. Smoke immediately shoots her with both his guns, but she easily recovers and announces that everyone will get killed before running away. Afterward, Smoke tries to help Stack, but his wound is too deep and he dies in his brother's arms. While Slim kicks all the guests out, Annie tells Smoke that they should leave the body outside and lock all doors, but he refuses. Instead, they lock the body in the side room. At that moment, Cornbread comes back and asks for permission to enter the building. Annie gets suspicious and when he refuses to explain why he needs an invitation, she accuses him of being a vampire. Cornbread gets offended and asks for his money before leaving, but when Smoke is about to pay him, Cornbread shows his vampire face and pulls him out, ready to bite. Smoke immediately shoots him in the face, but it does nothing. When Cornbread tries to attack again, Smoke runs back inside and they lock the door. At that moment, Stack knocks on the side room's door and stabs it with his knife to make a hole. Stack swears he's fine, but Annie reminds Smoke that Stack died so this creature isn't his brother anymore. Suddenly, Stack breaks down the door, tackling Sammy in the process. Annie throws pickled garlic juice at his face, hurting him so badly that he runs away. While Smoke helps Sammy, Grace says she wants to find her husband, who went out to get the car. However, Annie convinces her to stay inside until sunrise. Then she tells the group all about vampire lore so they can get weapons ready. These creatures can only be killed by garlic, wooden stakes, holy water, silver, and the sun. They start filling jars with garlic and sharpening chair legs to transform them into stakes while Sammy wonders if their music did this. In private, Annie makes Smoke promise that he'll free her if she turns. Afterward, the group finds a dead guest in the back room. Sammy and Smoke drag the body out of the building and discover that Remick has turned lots of people, who are now dancing and playing instruments around him while he sings. The duo rushes back inside and Annie makes everyone eat garlic to prove they're still human. When Pearline complains, Smoke threatens her with his gun to force her to eat too. Slim eats the garlic and he has a strong reaction, but it's just all the alcohol he's drunk tonight. At that moment, a guest knocks on the door and asks to be let in. By the time Smoke opens the door, the guy is already being devoured by Cornbread. Then Beau comes to the door too and tells Grace that he has the car ready to go. When she hesitates, he asks to be allowed inside. The group doesn't trust him and the conversation is interrupted by Remick, who says his power is to help black people need to start a new life in a world that has abandoned them. When he threatens to attack Grace's daughter in town, she has a breakdown. Remick also says he wants Sammy's talents to attract more vampires and claims he'll let the group live if Sammy comes with him, but Smoke doesn't let his cousin move. As more vampires approach the building, Remick reveals that Hogwood tricked the twins. It turns out the clan is still functioning and Hogwood sold that property so all the local black people would gather in one place for easier killing. Stack and Mary want their friends to take Remic's offer and become vampires too, that way they can defend themselves against the clan and finally have true freedom. The group turns down the offer and closes the door, but Grace can't stop thinking about her daughter and an argument ensues on how to proceed. At that moment the vampires surround the building and start singing, causing Grace to go crazy over the thought of her daughter getting hurt. The others hold her back but it's too late, she yells to invite the vampires to come in. The group rushes to grab their weapons and when Remic comes inside Grace throws a torch at him, but he knocks it off. Then the vampires storm in and a huge battle ensues. Grace throws Bo against the flames and stabs him with a stake, but sadly the fire gets her too and she slowly burns to death. The friends work together to fight the vampires, killing them one by one with a combo of bullets and stakes while they keep each other safe. Unfortunately there are too many monsters and they move fast. Annie is bitten by Stack and when Smoke tries to help her, Remic brings him down. Perline shoots Remic in the shoulder to push him off and Smoke rushes to Annie's side, however she's on the verge of death and reminds him of his promise. Smoke tells her he loves her before stabbing her with a stake to kill her and Mary and Stack still have enough humanity to be sad for her. Afterward the group runs upstairs while Slim stays behind as bait, so the vampires pile up on him to kill him. Remic appears at the upper door and sends everyone back inside, trying to get Sammy while Stack attacks his brother. Perline tries stabbing Remic but he easily pushes her against a beam and bites her. Smoke manages to push Stack down and shoots at Remic to make him back off. Sammy tries to approach Perline but she knows she'll transform soon and makes him leave. By jumping through the upper door, Sammy escapes the building but hurts his leg in the process. As he limps away, Remic jumps out of the building too and surprises him from behind. The vampire slashes his face and makes him fall into the lake. Remic gets ready to bite Sammy but hesitates when the boy starts praying. All the other vampires gather around them as they pray too, so Remic gets annoyed and starts dunking Sammy in the lake while ranting against religion. In the building, the twins continue to fight. Both are very stubborn and refuse to give up. Eventually Stack manages to tackle Smoke to the ground but when he tries to bite him, he can't do it. Smoke uses the chance to take over and grabs a stake as he apologizes to Stack for not protecting him, freezing when Stack asks him not to be sorry. At the lake, Sammy uses the distraction to grab his guitar and break it on Remic's head, which makes all the vampires squirm in pain. After removing the guitar piece from his head Remic gets ready to attack again, only to suddenly be stabbed with a stake by Smoke. At that moment the sun rises and all the vampires slowly burn to death. Remic is the last one to go in a small tornado of flames. Afterward Smoke makes Sammy leave in his car before the clan shows up. While Sammy arrives at the church, Smoke gathers all the guns he can find. Soon Hogwood shows up with a bunch of clan men, only to find the doors locked. Smoke opens fire from the woods, killing half of the group before he comes out to keep on shooting. The clan fires back, hurting him in the stomach. Two men try to escape on a truck but Smoke throws a grenade at them and the truck explodes. The only one left is Hogwood and Smoke takes a cigarette from him while hallucinating that his wife and kid are nearby. Then Hogwood offers some money, so Smoke shoots him to death. He dies at the same time and reunites with his family. At the church, Sammy refuses to drop his guitar. He tells his father he's not giving up music and leaves Mississippi to go north. Many years later, an elderly Sammy still plays in clubs. One night he's visited by Mary and Stack, who explains that Smoke couldn't kill them and let them go in exchange for never touching Sammy. The couple can tell Sammy doesn't have much time left and offer to turn him so he can keep making music. Sammy turns them down because he's had enough of the world, but he agrees to play one last song for them. He admits that the performance before the fight was the best day of his life and Stack agrees, saying it was the last time he saw the sun, the last time he spent with his brother, and the last time he felt free.